Welcome to the Men Are Forged podcast. This is the place where we help young professional men build for lasting success and a meaningful life. I'm your host, Cartwright Morris. I'm a certified career and life coach. Today I'm talking with Jack Gibson of myindestructiblewealth.com. That's myindestructiblewealth.com. I hope you enjoy the conversation. Before we get started, if you're a young professional male looking for guidance and direction in your career and life, please look me up at menareforged.com or calvertandassociates.com and schedule an appointment with me today. Now, my interview with Jack Gibson. All right, I'll have Jack Gibson here with me on the Men Are Forged podcast. Excited to have Jack. Jack is with My Indestructible Wealth. Jack, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. All right. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, it's good to have you. The first question right off the bat, Jack, what's, I guess thinking back to you growing up or even in, your early 20s, what were some of your, being the finance guy, what were your earliest influence related to success and generally overall wealth? Yeah.
I honestly have the rich dad, poor dad story in real life. I mean, not to say that my real father was poor, because he wasn't. He was a middle earner, middle income earner, slightly above as a professional. Mm-hmm. And then I also had my wealthy uncle who had three businesses. He was an entrepreneur. He had farmed 500 acres. He had $1 million insurance book. And then he also did a tent, table, and chair business. He had no children of his own. So, I was like the de facto, child for him. I looked at him as a father figure as well. And so it was really interesting to have kind of see both sides of the game, the job world and the entrepreneurial world.
Right.
When my uncle passed, he passed with probably $3.4 million, and nobody would have ever known. I mean, he lived extremely frugal.
Wow.
In fact, in his bedroom, when they kind of were tearing down the house and everything, the wallpaper was like falling down in his house. Like he wouldn't spend his money. And another thing I remember, that there's a couple incidences with him that really stand out. I remember when I was a senior in high school and the Cleveland Indians made the World Series. And this is a huge deal. I mean, we still to this day have no championship since 1948. So it's really rough.
Wow.
It's been a long stretch. And so it was really, I saved up. I had, $400, as a senior in high school. I was ready to let it rip. Mm-hmm. So I called him up, and, he's the only one I knew that loved Cleveland and loved the team and had money. And he's like, "No, I worked too hard for my money." Uh-huh. And I'm like, man, really disappointed in that kind of thought or philosophy, because you can't take it with you.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So you learn the good from people, and then you can also learn oh man, what do I not want to take away from them? Mm-hmm. And so that kind of that hit me in a way where I'm like, man, I don't want to be like that. I want to be able to make awesome money as an entrepreneur, mm-hmm. but I also want to enjoy it all along the journey. Life can be really short, and it was short for him at 56. So
wow,
that was my kind of initial, journey as far as kind of going up into the 20s, right?
Right. Yeah. So, unpack that a little bit for me. How do we balance that? Because we all got, I'm sure you get different personalities, some lean towards saving, some lean towards spending. How do we enjoy our money, but also provide for the future?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think so much of traditional finance, which my platform is all about disrupting that.
Yeah.
So it's a lump sum thinking. So what I mean by that is your goal is to, and this is the Wall Street push, right? Which they generate a lot of fees off of people. So there's a hidden agenda behind this big push to accumulate a large nest egg by the time you're 65. And then your goal is to have saved up enough to where then you can just draw that down, and hopefully you make it long enough to where your money doesn't, you don't outlast your money, so to speak.
Right.
My strategy has been multiple streams of income and not so much focus on the lump sum. I mean, the lump sum is certainly, it is important because the sum of money that you have accumulated can be put into projects or investments that create cash flow. But it's not the main focus. The main focus is, on the way I think, is I want multiple streams of cash flow, passive income, so that if one dries up or two dry up, which I expect that to happen in a highly disruptive, economy, and with technology shifting so fast, my expectation is that some of my streams will dry up. It's almost inevitable. But then I always want to be in a position where I don't care that much when that happens. Right?
Yeah.
So I can live my life now and enjoy it. And we have an incredible lifestyle. No worries about spending and all of that. We can buy whatever we want, whenever we want. And I also don't have any worries about the future because we have plenty of streams, multiple enough streams of income coming in to where I don't need to accumulate any more lump sum by the time I'm 65. It won't make any difference.
So how did you get there to that mindset? I mean, was that a natural bent to you? You felt even at a young age that you had an entrepreneurial mindset, or is that something you developed in understanding money and how to really start having multiple streams of income?
Yeah, I read, it wasn't anything natural. I don't know. It's not too natural. I had a love of money early on.
Right.
My mom came out of the nursery school, and this gal that was teaching it, she said, "Hey, did you know Jack knows how to count money? Like, he did it accurately." And I was only like 3, right? So it was very abnormal. And my mom's like, yeah. It's like, of course he does. He loves money. But it took a lot of setbacks, to be able to kind of figure out the strategy that I have today and feel really strong and passionate about it. When I was 22, I'd saved up $50,000 through college. I got involved in a direct sales and marketing company. Hustled like crazy. All the other college kids are drinking and partying and playing video games and, just doing what college kids do. Right. Yeah. And, I not only got through school, got my degree, but I also built a really nice business up, and I saved everything. I didn't spend anything. I was so cheap. My friends made fun of me, and they should have. I should have let it rip a little bit more.
Right.
But I wanted to create wealth early. I wanted to become a millionaire by age 30. That was always the goal. So I invested it into the stock market because the stock market was cranking. And, so this was 2000, right? So you probably know where this story is going. I put it all in. Yeah. And within like 3 months, it's down 50% because it's called the .com bubble crash. So my timing was impeccably terrible. Yeah. And that really set me back for a few years. I mean, and not only financially, but it set me back emotionally because I lost confidence in like that ability to build wealth, because it also scared me. It's like, I worked so hard for this money, and then for it to just kind of half of it to disappear and overnight, that sucks. Yeah. So I realized I needed to learn a different game. And that's when I picked up the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And he talked about really hyper-focusing on 2 things. Number 1, build a business that produces excess cash flow that's very scalable. And then 2, take that cash flow and invest it into cash flow producing assets that when you buy them, you're not gambling, you're not speculating. When you buy it, approximately what kind of returns you're going to get. So that shifted my entire focus. That book was incredible. And then that's been the journey ever since since age 22. Now I'm 43.
Right. So yeah, how would you? I mean, I guess describe your mindset. Is it? I mean, it just sounds like that you were kind of putting a lot of trust and hope in the system, or just your ability to save and to earn. And now, how would you describe it now? Would you describe it differently in the context of just outside of just what you learned from the book? How would you say you're different?
I think that there's a lot of the core components that are, that are still there. Like that's still the strategy. However, I've realized over the last few years that I have missing pieces to the strategy. So one thing that happened that just, absolutely floored me and made me reevaluate what I was doing. This guy comes into our little, I call it it's like a little smoothie shop my wife runs. And he said, he's a landscaper, Lance the landscaper. And he has struggles with his business. I know it. I'm in an entrepreneurial group with him. And he has a lot of trouble, with that business and getting the right employees. It's tough to get the right people, retain them and get the good quality people. So he had told me, we got into a conversation about cryptocurrency and he bought 10 Bitcoin when it was at 1,000. And so at that time, Bitcoin was, I think at that conversation was probably around 50,000.
Wow.
And obviously, it got up to 64. It's, it's hovering right around, 50 right now. And so he created 500,000 off a $10,000 investment. And then on top of that, I found out another conversation. He bought like 100 Ethereum at, super cheap. And that's cranked like crazy. So I was like, man, I could have done that. Like I was listening to podcasts where Mike Dillard adamantly said, buy Ethereum and Bitcoin. And it was probably right there on that time that he bought. But I was so hyper focused in building the business and investing into cash flow producing assets, I wouldn't speculate at all. So it just added in this layer to where now the plan has when the time is right, I call it, you take some well-timed swings for the fences. Just like a Major League Baseball player, when the timing is right, they need to put a bunt down. And sometimes the timing is right of the situation where they need to let it rip. The odds are stacked in their favor. The matchup is right. Everything's lined up. Boom. They're going to swing for the fences. Maybe they strike out.
Yeah.
Maybe they crank it out. Right.
Yeah.
So that kind of led to me to what I call I have a 5-stage process. There's 5 stages that if you follow the stages, there's almost no way that you won't win.
Yeah.
The problem that most people have in investing is that they don't have their foundational plan or strategy right. So now they're over speculating and even over gambling. And that's a very, not a methodical way to build wealth. It's a very up and down cyclical type of plan that you're really putting yourself out there in terms of the whims of the market could whip your seesaw your wealth and really disrupt, your whole life.
Right. Interesting. Yeah. So, oh man, a lot of thoughts there, but it's just interesting. I think so many people make big decisions like that off of feelings. And it sounds like your stages kind of cuts out the feelings part of it. And
yeah,
you
it really
actually
does.
have a understanding of when to swing for the fences in a very, go ahead.
So absolutely. So I'll go through them real quick. Stage 1 is investing into yourself. So if I look back at what I should have done when I was 22 versus what I did do,
right?
I skipped from instead of doing stage 1, I went all the way to stage 4. And so stage 1, when you invest into yourself, it's 4 things. When people ask, like, what do you invest into? When you say invest into yourself, books, courses, coaching, and seminars. So those are the four things that I think are the most important when you're first getting started. And this is speaking to, yes, I'm speaking to entrepreneurs for sure, but for employees that really want to build wealth and retire young, they're going to need to have a side hustle. It's extremely difficult to build wealth and retire by the time you're 40, which I have. I'm completely financially retired.
Wow.
There's a difference between financially retired and work retired too. Okay. So I'll never work retire. I'll work until I'm, until I'm done.
Right.
To some capacity. I probably will slow down and enjoy golf and right at some stage. Mm-hmm. But financially retired gives you a lot more freedom and choices. So we did that by age 40. And I say the only way to really do that is that you do need to have a side hustle. You need to have a business to do that. Mm-hmm. It's so very difficult, even as a high earning employee, to retire young because you're taxed to death. You're taxed at the highest bracket. You don't have hardly any advantages that a business owner has. That it's almost so hard. It's hard as an employee to out earn or outpace the taxes that you're paying. Mm. So stage one, if you invest into yourself, then you're exponentially increasing your earning power. That's the whole focus. Let's just get your skills strong. You need specialized skills. If you went to college, which I did, I got a lot of generalized knowledge, which was fine. It wasn't practical in the business sense. I learned 10 times to 100 times more being in sales and in the market while I was going to college than I actually learned from college out of a textbook and from a teacher that never even built a business. Mm-hmm. So it is what it is. Yeah. So had a great experience, had fun, had some great parties, met some great people. But, at the end of the day, what good did that do me in business? It really didn't. Right. So, and I'm not bashing college because I think for professionals and certain people, it's necessary. I was just with my wife and I were kind of talking about this, but there's a lot of it's pushed on a lot of young kids that it isn't very necessary for them to go. Mm. They just feel like they have to based on what society says is necessary in order to be successful. And I totally disagree. Yeah. So anyways, you get super hyper focused on building your skills and then your whatever specific passion that you have. So you got to figure out what is it that you most enjoy doing. The way to figure out what your passion is just look at what is it that you read books about? Mm. What do you listen to podcasts about? And what kind of courses or seminars, what do you find yourself like just reading content about? That's typically what you would say your passion would be. Mm-hmm. So for me, my passion is like, I looked at my library and it's like so many, 50% of them are finance books, right? Investing, cash flow. So it wasn't that hard for me to figure out Indestructible Wealth. This is the platform and brand that I should launch now. Yeah. So once you've got your invested into yourself and you got your skills built up, then stage two is, building your own cash flow producing business. Mm. And the goal with that is to build it up to where you have so much cash flow coming in that it no longer makes sense to keep pouring that money back into the business. So in stage two, you're really hyper focused on constantly reinvesting back into your own business. Mm-hmm. So give you an example. Okay. So I launched Indestructible Wealth. I'm 7 months in. Mm. Okay. And how did I approach this? Even though I'm really not in stage two of like the whole financial picture for my whole life. Yeah. But for this particular business, I'm in stage two. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I'm hyper investing into this business. Mm-hmm. I'm doing, I just hired a TikTok coach, which is hilarious. I'm 43 and I hired a TikTok coach, right? And so it's comical. Right. I don't dance. But I have found like on that particular platform, there are lots of people who are doing really well in finance that don't dance. They just give great content. Mm-hmm. And I hired a LinkedIn coach and he helps me with my posts and revising them and the content and learning the platform more effectively. Mm-hmm. I've taken a YouTube course. I just paid a few $100 to take a YouTube course because I need to repurpose my content onto YouTube since it's evergreen and it's going to be there for the next several years whenever you post a video, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, I have a business coach that helped me come up with the idea and strategize for this. And then on top of that, Brand Builders is the company that, you and I both went with to teach us how to build a personal brand.
Yeah.
So you look at all of that, that's an investment, but that's an investment into me to exponentially increase my earning power in this particular business that I've chosen. And number two, I'm pouring money back into the business. I've got SEO guys that are trying to get me ranked high on search engines.
Mm-hmm.
I've got, all the coaches and all of that.
Yeah.
There's the website design, hosting, like everything is hyper focused on stages 1 and 2 with this particular business.
Yeah. So I really want to keep on these stages because it's really fascinating. I'm kind of taking notes myself, but I really want to back up here and just for the person who says, that's too much of an investment. I don't have the money to do that or the income to, what would you say to that person I can't get a Brand Builders, YouTube coach, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, number one, I would say that money is an idea.
Yeah.
So you're limiting your, you might have limited resources, but you have unlimited resourcefulness. So I think too, sometimes having a lot of money is almost I wouldn't say it's a crutch, but it can hinder me a bit because I'm not as careful of what I spend on. And I'm almost, maybe there's an over reliance on like utilizing the money as the weapon to grow versus desire, hustle, heart, ingenuity, just really getting after it.
Right.
So, for example, somebody who's 22, 23, they're listening to this, like, I don't have much money. I'm like, well, you probably have a lot more energy and you have a lot more time than I have now at 43.
Yeah.
You do have a lot more energy in your 20s. It's the way it's how it goes.
Yeah.
And not only that, but you have a lot more. There's a lot more drive. Like I grinded so long in business throughout my 20s, like 13, 14, 15-hour days, that I don't want to do that anymore. So I won't work nearly as hard. So you have that as an advantage. You're willing to, and more hungry, you're willing to work harder and longer hours. So they can probably beat me in this game by having desire and heart and hustle and, ingenuity and ideas and understanding. Inherently, they understand social media a lot more than I do. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
saving time just by knowing how to operate that. Yeah.
Exactly. Just knowing the platform, they could probably beat me by a year of learning curve or two. And all of just knowing all the features and how to really communicate on those platforms. So they can't think that they don't, just because they don't have money, like there's ways to start building, with very limited money, but they can't let that if you use that as an excuse, you're done.
Yeah.
You're dead in the water, because everybody has to go through that process of not having that much money and getting going and figuring out how to bootstrap it and just.
So yeah, the thing that you hit on that I know I struggled with was the idea of my earning potential. Like I struggled at college. A lot of my friends, got, the engineering or the pre-med degrees. And so they, like, in my mind, they had earning potential because of their ability to do school. Like, and so how do you reframe and help people that really it's been years for me to kind of work myself. It's like, no, there's just so many other things that you can do, valuable skills. I guess that's part of investing in yourself, reading books. Yeah. Realizing how does someone in their 20s, even in their 30s, start believing that they have earning potential outside of the generic norms Today's episode is brought to you by Thrive Marriage Lab. If you want your marriage to thrive, this is a great opportunity to you, because strong marriages are the bedrock of strong churches, organization, families, and community. This is a 12-month pathway for any of you that are looking to really have weekly engagement with experienced marriage counselors. Not just one, but many. So go to restory.life/thrive to get on the waiting list for this great program that starts in April. That's restory.life/thrive. And make sure you put the word Forge in the promo code to receive a discount on your monthly fee. Now, back to the episode.
Yeah, I mean, the mind really can't tell the difference between something that's real or vividly imagined. So there's so many books and studies that show that, your subconscious will accept anything that your conscious mind feeds it, good or bad. So essentially that's coming down to say, whatever you believe you can achieve, you will. And if you believe you can't, then you won't.
Yeah.
So one thing that trick that I always do is I have to kind of trick my mind into believing and really visualizing the next level of earning power. Mm-hmm. So for me, it couldn't be so unbelievable that I didn't believe it.
Right.
So when I'm making, 1,000 a month, I wasn't thinking 100,000 a month, right? I was making 1,000 a month. So I'd say, I'm so happy and grateful that I'm earning $5,000 a month. And I'd just say that. That was my simple, nothing crazy. Mm-hmm. I would just keep repeating that to myself all the time. It's kind of seems silly, but it works. Then I hit 5,000. I'm like, I'm so happy and grateful that I'm hitting $10,000 a month. Or I just say, I am earning over $10,000 a month. Yeah. And you say, I am, because your mind can't tell the difference between whether it's future oriented or in the past or present. It doesn't know. Mm. So if I keep projecting out where I want to go, then my mind's going to figure out the best logical and most efficient course to get me there. Mm. And that will then attract the books, the coaches, the people, the resources, the team, everything I need will be starting to move towards me, because again, everything, it's energy. So now it's, I'm earning over $100,000 per month, and now I'm going to have to raise that up because I've hit that. Yeah. So now it's going to be, I got to figure out, okay, what's the next level? What is it that I believe that's possible? Okay. Well, I think the next logical place to go is I'm earning $250,000 a month. So that's what I need to start telling myself. I'm earning over $250,000 a month. So it's this constant recalibration. You have to recalibrate. You have to keep not getting stuck in just being kind of like at the same place and okay with where you're at. I think too, what's most important for people to understand is that money is very, very important. And this is coming from a guy who has an Indestructible wealth platform on finances, but it's only 1/5 of the whole picture of wealth. Yeah. There's financial wealth, which is very, very important. To say that money isn't important in today's life and in American life is, we know that is way off track. It is very, very important in the areas of which it's very important in, and it's unimportant in the areas of which it's not important in. When my wife's, pissed off at me, all the money in the world doesn't solve that problem. I've got to, I can't bribe her or throw money at her. It's I got to figure out, okay, I got to only, right? Yeah. I got to get better. I got to figure this one out. This is where we got to work on the second part of wealth, relationships. There's spiritual wealth. There's, intellectual wealth, and then there's physical wealth, health, and they're all very, very, very important. If you take one of those away, you're not happy as a human being. You're not living a good life. Yeah, just being honest. If one of those is in the tanker, right? So that's what I would be giving the main advice to people in their 20s. If I could really go back in time and talk to myself, I'd really say, pursue a holistic view of wealth, not just be so hyper focused on money that you kind of lose sight of all the other areas of life which create richness and fullness and fulfillment and happiness.
Yeah. Yeah, that is just one of five. That's really
it literally is 20% of the game.
Yeah. Huh. That's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot of what I wish I told myself, and I tell a lot of the guys, is like going back to that investing in yourself thing, learning to grow. And so that, it's almost like, most of the time you hear these stories of these billionaires and famous people that just kind of go to the peak of life, but yet destruction follows them, athletes, all those stories. And it's a lot of, I had a mentor tell me it's generally their success outgrew their character.
Yeah.
And it's like, we want to grow our character with our success.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You want your character, your personal development to be outpacing your earning power. So that way your money has to catch up to the person that you are. Yeah. But if you're in the reverse position where your success is higher than your character, then that's a bad place to be, because your money has to catch up to who you are, and it's going to be coming on the downward trajectory. Ooh. Inevitably. We see it all the time with people who earn wealth quickly or get a hold of money that they didn't earn. They didn't have to become the person. They lose it. They can't handle it.
Right. Oh man, that's interesting. All right. So what's stage 3? I'm curious.
Yeah. Stage 3 is invest into cash flow producing assets. This is mainly real estate. It doesn't have to be real estate, but most cash flow producing assets are going to be under that umbrella. Mm-hmm. Now, there's different ways you can do real estate. When I first started off, it was single family homes. And I've done well with them. I've also not done well. I mean, sometimes they don't work. So, I just had one though, just closed a couple days ago. I bought it for $80,000 back in 2015 and just sold it for $230 and cash flowed it for the last 6 years. It rented out every single month. So the cash flow itself I would have been totally happy with. Mm-hmm. But then the property also appreciated and substantially, right? So that's a win. Not all of them go that way. Some have been a disaster, where the roof needs replacement and, there's peel off $6-7 And so I don't want to paint it as like, oh yeah, it's always good. It's not. Mm-hmm. You got tenants, toilets, and trash. And those 3 aren't always great. Yeah. And then, there's, you can buy mortgage-backed notes where you just kind of like the bank. So you hold the note and you get the cash flow as if you're the bank. Those are great. There are syndication deals where you can buy in a piece of equity in a larger deal, like a multifamily or a self-storage deal. I'm gearing more towards those now because single family homes are not a passive investment. People can say that they're passive all day long, and they are not right. Passive. When you have tenants, toilets, and trash, you'll just, even if you have a good management company, you won't be able to escape the active nature of that game. Mm-hmm. So I'm gearing now at this stage of life, self-storage and things that are where I don't have to be involved much. One thing I really like the idea of for the younger generation, I'll be diving into this more on my show, is fractionalized real estate. So this is using the blockchain technology, cryptocurrency essentially, or the blockchain technology is what powers the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And it allows people anywhere in the world to own a piece of US real estate for as little as $50. There are programs out there that allow you to do that. And it gives you the full benefits of as if you had the full rights to the property. I mean, you get the same percentage of the cash flow based on how much you put in, right? Mm-hmm. But it allows people to get into real estate at a young age that don't have the money or the knowledge or the experience to be able to, say, purchase a full home themselves and take on that level of risk. and they start getting that cash flow coming in from that asset ownership, and it's very liquid. You can sell that token pretty quickly. It's very, very liquid, which real estate generally is not liquid. So I like this idea. I think this is probably the future of real estate, to be honest, as far as cash flow real estate for younger, hungry, men and women that really want to get into the game, but it's a little bit, maybe they're not ready to financially, or they're not ready to take on that commitment that is involved with owning the house and the whole title and the deed yourself.
Right. Yeah. So what's stage 4 and 5?
Stage 4, this is fun. This is where it gets fun. Everybody's like, when does this really get fun? It hasn't sounded that much fun. Like, when do I buy the Dogecoin that goes to the moon? Or when do I get the Bitcoin, the Ethereum, and take the high risk tech stock bet that, can go up 10x? When do I get to do that? Jack, you're stifling me. I understand. Stage 4 is you take the income that you're getting from stages 1 through 3. Okay. So let's think about this for a second. Your earning power has exponentially increased because you've been investing back into yourself, and your skills are strong. You can make money at any business. If you drop me off into pretty much any business, I believe that I can figure it out how to make money and do it well. Okay. Maybe that's true. Maybe it's not. I'm on my 3rd business now. I've built 2 multi-million-dollar businesses. I have 12 streams of cash flow. I'm on my 3rd, although I haven't monetized this one yet. The plan is, and motion is in place. I'll know that I'll be able to make $1 million off this platform. Okay. So that may take 5 years. I don't know. I know I'll do it. Right. So that's just that confidence in your mindset, your skills, and your belief, where stage 1 is earning power. You can earn money. Yeah. No doubt. Okay. So you got that earning power. You got your business from stage 2 producing excess cash flow. You got your assets now producing cash flow in stage 3. So you have multiple streams of income coming in, some from active and some passive in nature, right? Right. You take that money and now you get to speculate with it. You get to take some swings for the fences. Yeah. Here's what's great. Okay. Here's the best part about this strategy. If that money that deal doesn't work out, okay, they're higher risk, but they're higher reward. So some of them will fall flat. You will lose all your money in some of these deals that you do in stage 4. But it doesn't matter, because your money will be replenished typically within a few months, maybe within a year, depends how aggressive you got on your stage 4 bet. But your money will be replenished, your lifestyle isn't affected, and boom, you re-swing for the fences again, and then something's going to hit. Something's going 10x in stage 4, or even 100x. And this is where, bam, you move the needle on your net worth, like seriously, like crazy movement, right? This was me, where I made in 2 months, I made $300,000 on cryptocurrency. That was what happened, is because I was in stage 4, but I was also responsible about getting to stage 4. When crypto dropped, recently we had a pullback of 50% pullback when Elon Musk decides that for whatever reason, he doesn't like Bitcoin anymore, which is it's a whole different podcast. Right. Bitcoin drops, all the crypto market then plummets by 50%. I didn't care. Yeah. I didn't. I mean, I cared more about the golf shot that went into the water on the night before, because that really bothered me. The money that dropped, I didn't care, because I can hold, I can be patient. I looked at it as a buying opportunity. I'm like celebrating. I'm like, I've got, more money sitting on the sidelines. I like the bet that I made. I just got a 50% discount. I bought more Bitcoin, Ethereum. I bought Cardano. I went, bam, I'm buying more of all these coins that I really liked. And so now that money's up. So you want it to be where, if you're doing this process the way I'm kind of laying out, right, you're actually celebrate when the market drops. You're not, you don't care. You don't care.
Right.
And that's because your lifestyle isn't affected if you're doing it the right way. If you're placing investments like I did when I was 22, where I put all my money into the stock market, and then it dropped by 50%, that affected my life in a big, big way. My lifestyle was affected. So that means I was in the wrong. I was going about it all wrong. Now, when that happens, stock market could tank 50%. I could probably care less.
Right. It's like that Warren Buffett mindset. When everybody's selling, that's when you need to be buying. When everybody's buying, that's when you need to be selling, kind of mindset, basically.
Absolutely. But when there's blood in the streets, that's your opportunity.
Yeah. That's cool.
So, but you have to protect your principal money first. And that's what these young kids don't want to do.
Yeah.
And, I don't know how else to tell them. They're going to go out and they're going to buy the Doge to the moon and something worthless like that has no intrinsic value. They're going to buy the GameStop, the AMC. They're going to try to get because people want to get rich quick. That's the basics of human nature is they want to make money as fast as humanly possible with the least amount of effort. That is intrinsically built inside of us into our DNA. Okay. Some of us have the better ability to handle that, but we all have it. No doubt. If that wasn't true, then why do millions and millions of people play the lottery? Right.
Right.
We know that's true. You've got to think how the wealthy think. The wealthy think safety first. Protect your principal money. Don't gamble. Don't speculate with that early seed money. Get that into stages 1, 2, and 3, and then speculate. One thing to add in real quick is you don't have to, like if you're 22, 25, right?
Yeah.
You could I would say you could play a little bit in stage 4, but it's only going to be like 10, maybe 20% of your total investable dollars because you have so much ability to recover.
Yeah.
The older that you get, you have less time to recover. So you want to be more and more careful with your principal money. But overall, the overriding theme is protect that money, safety first. Don't over speculate. Don't gamble with it. Protect it, and then take the money that principal produces, and then that's the money that you use to do your higher risk plays.
Right.
I know you're gonna ask me stage 5. It's really quick. It's repeat stages 1 through 4 until you've got to where you want to be, and always remember to give back and bless others. Because if you're in stage 5, Cartwright, you're in a unique position in life where you've got a lot of streams of income coming in. You've got a lot of net worth, and you want to make sure to be a good steward of that money. And just this week, I'm writing a check for $15,000 to help build a church in Arizona.
Wow.
The younger of 2 pastors at my church is moving to start a new church, and he needs this seed money to get it going. I've always said that I want to be a part of building a church, so put my money where my mouth is. So we're stroking a check, boom. That's part of the 10% of the house that just sold in Arizona that I described. I'm taking 10% of those proceeds, and boom, that's going to help build a church in Arizona. It's really easy to talk about doing it. It's a whole different thing to stroke the check, it's a whole different story.
Is that part of the process? I mean, I always talk about that. It's like you can't all of a sudden, I'll give when I'm making a lot of money. Is that a discipline developed when you don't have the money really to give?
Yeah. I started giving a good 12, 13 years ago, and we've been very consistent. We give 40, 50 grand a year easily. And we've just been doing that. My advice is to start when the money is small, because you could say, all day long, and you'd be kidding yourself to say, well, when I make $1 million, I give 100,000. No, you won't. Do you know how hard it is to give 100 grand away? That's a very difficult proposition.
Yeah.
If you don't have that muscle developed. So it is, giving is a muscle that has to be worked. It's much better when the money that's coming in is small. If you have a trouble with this concept, start with 1%. Just take 1%. You're not $1 out of 100. You're not going to miss it at all.
Yeah.
Take $5 out of 100. Watch how your life is blessed. Watch how you feel. It's crazy. There'll be some weird things that happen to you that you won't be able to explain.
Yeah.
That it's going to just strengthen and solidify your belief in the value of giving, and what you sow, you will reap. So start off now, and it's going to give you a huge leg up on everybody else, because nobody's really doing it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Very, very few are doing that. That sets you apart. It puts you in a position of incredible level of attractiveness in the marketplace.
Yeah. That's cool. There's a lot of biblical concepts, the sowing and reaping. Those who give will receive. And one I always think about from what you're saying is Abraham. God said, I will bless you to bless others.
Yeah, I'm a very much not a master of the Bible by any stretch. In fact, I was just with my pastor, who's my golfing buddy.
Yeah.
And I said, I need you to interpret it for me, because I just don't get it when I read it. And I said, plus I drop way too many F-bombs to.
Well, golf will teach you how to do that.
Yeah, it really does. So he's heard all kinds of colorful language out of me, and hey, we're still friends, so that's good.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Well, here's some interesting facts about money related with the Bible. Jesus had 36 parables. 16 of them are about suiting money and resources.
Wow.
There's actually
I didn't know that.
There's more verses about money than there are about faith.
Yeah, that's crazy to think about. But money is, I know money is woven throughout the Bible, like huge amounts. And it's funny how people misinterpret it or twist it to money is the root of all evil, or money is the root of all unhappiness. Those sort of things to me is kind of like the dad bod jokes that are going.
Right.
I feel like the dad bod is just a worn out joke to hide somebody's lack of disciplines and lack of resourcefulness. Just like money is the root of all evil is the same thing. It's just a way to hide the fact that you weren't disciplined with your money.
Yeah.
Now, people might not like me for saying that. I don't care. Because I fight for people's goals and their dreams, and sometimes you just need to get hit upside the head with something. The way it works is the love of money is the root of all evil. And then taking that down even further, it's when money gets into your heart too much, to where now money is your primary, what you worship.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with having huge abundances of money if it doesn't affect your heart. If it's affecting your heart, then it's a bad thing. And I agree with that.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, money adds to your life. It isn't your life. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, we're kind of coming on time here. So Jack, give me some where people can find you. Maybe it's with some resources of yours that, my audience would love to have.
Yeah. myindestructiblewealth.com is my central platform. So that's got blogs, vlogs. It's got, I think I have about 35 blogs on there as we speak. I have all my podcasts are posted right there with transcription. So they can access them right through that site. And then if they're interested in a financial mastermind, I'll be starting that very soon. It's a program that I'm designing to help people to make, keep, and grow more money. It'll be starting off, it'll be on Zoom and guided. They'll get a one-on-one call, they'll get Zoom calls, they'll get a private group. So it's really to help people that are younger with getting a hold of their finances and understanding, hopefully try to teach them how to implement stages, 1 through 5, wherever they happen to be on their journey.
Right.
So they can get on my email list, and then they'll be notified when on my site, they'll be notified when the next course is going to be opening up.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, Jack, I appreciate you coming on. This has been a blast. I could sit here and talk to you about this stuff all day.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the interview. I really enjoyed it, Carray. I could talk about it all day too. This is my passion. So I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Yeah, man, I felt that passion, and so I really do appreciate it. So thank you. That's all we've got for this episode of the Men Are Forged podcast. One thing that would really help me and other potential listeners is to rate this show and leave a comment on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen. Make sure to link up with me at menareforged.com. Follow me on any social media, Facebook, Instagram, or even LinkedIn, and share as much as you can of this podcast with anyone who might enjoy it or would receive from it. Thank you. See you next time.